Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I call to order the Wickliffe City Council meeting of April 24th, 2023. Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Here.
Gerhardstein.
Here.
Jaworski.
Here.
Kosky. Here. Levon.
Here.
Saloto. Here. Thielman.
Here.
I'll entertain a motion to allow Councilwoman Kosky to abstain from the voting on the meeting minutes of April 10th.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Jaworski, seconded by Councilman Gerhardstein, to allow Councilwoman Kosky to abstain from voting on the meeting minutes of April 10th, 2023. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kosky.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto. Yes. Thielman.
Yes.
Approval of council minutes.
Make a motion, we approve the council minutes from April 10th, 2023.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto, that the council meeting minutes of April 10th, 2023 be approved as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballot.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kosky.
Abstain.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto. Yes. Thielman.
Yes.
Reports and communications from the Mayor, Safety Director.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Council President. So first, I'd like to welcome our new Finance Director, Shalandra Hunter. We are excited to welcome you here to the team, and we look forward to working with you. So I received a commendation from the Lake County Sheriff's Office for Officer Kristen Fitch. We are thankful for the good work that she did, I'll say about 3 weeks ago, and all of the officers of the Wickliffe Police Department for keeping Wickliffe safe. I received a letter on something that she observed, found a car that the county was looking for a while, and our officer found that car and were able to make an arrest. So they were some bad people. The correct paperwork has been filed through the county for the demolition of the building where the new Circle K will be located. And then during new business tonight, I will be asking for council to approve my appointment of Shalandra as the delegate to Rita's Regional Council of Government and Council President Levon as the alternate delegate. This appointment is required by Rita, is traditionally a role filled by the Finance Director, and council approval of the appointment is required. And today was the shadow day of the shadow portion of Student Government Day, where 2 students follow me and kind of see what happens in the day in the life of the mayor. And we went to the different departments. It was a good experience. They were 2 good kids, and they got to meet a council member and hear on that end how things work, and it was a great experience. So I'm looking forward to that going full force next year. So that's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Mayor, Safety Director? Thank you, Joe. Reports and communications from the Director of Law.
Nothing to report tonight.
Any questions or comments for the Law Director? Councilman Gerhardstein.
Can we discussed it last time, can we get the regulations on the opioid settlement money? Okay, thank you.
Got a good, about a 10-page memo that I can send to everybody to take a look at, and then if there's some specifics, we've also worked with the police department. They had a few particular suggestions of things that they want to do, so we researched to make sure that they could. And pretty much everything they suggested we can do. We need to get a few more specifics to make sure, but yep, all of that.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions or comments for the Law Director? Thank you, Jeremy. Communications from Council President. I have none. Do you have any amendments or additions to the agenda? Mayor?
Under new business C,
Yep.
nuisance for a business.
Okay, under new business C, nuisance for a business. Councilman Ballard, do you have something?
Yeah, and the new business D, I guess, crosswalk, high school.
High school crosswalk? Okay, we'll put that as new business D. Any other additions or amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to administrators. Police Chief Ice is excused. Fire Chief Powers.
Thank you, Council President.
As you know, the underpass was closed this weekend. We staffed 2 paramedics down at the senior center. It was fortunate because we ran an abundance of calls on the north end this weekend, so it was good that we were there. We're also working on the Medicare revalidation, which if you guys know anything about billing and Medicare, it's not too easy, but we're getting through it. And then I had the honor to have 3 Wickliffe High School students shadow me today. Amira Smith, Zyla Woods, and Kaishera Albert, all Wickliffe residents, Wickliffe High School students that are going through the EMT and firefighter 1 and 2 training program. It's kind of unique. When they get out of this program, they could actually work for me part-time. So it was really interesting hearing from these young ladies, and it was just truly a pleasure this afternoon. So that's all I have, sir.
Any questions or comments for the fire chief? Thank you, Chief. Finance Director Hunter.
Nothing this evening.
Any questions or comments for the Finance Director? Thank you. Engineer Formica.
Thank you, Council President. I have nothing to add to my written report.
Any questions or comments for the City Engineer? Thank you. Service Director Strouser.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to add that well, so far the progress with East 294 South Silver and Park is moving probably ahead of schedule. Just wanted to let you guys know that, so I can give an update. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for the Service Director? Councilwoman Koski.
I was just going to let everyone know what I spoke to the service director about today. I had a resident that almost got hit on Lakeland because the arrows aren't on the road anymore and the signage was kind of confusing, and she was in a left lane that was supposed to go straight, but the people in the right turn only lane, they went straight and she almost got sideswiped. So the service director's going to add a sign.
Yeah, we put a sign up today. We did put a temporary sign up, and then Pete and I talked about it today. We're going to try and get the contractor back there to do they did do the long lines. They haven't done the crosswalks and the arrows yet, and we're going to try and get it back there this week. They're waiting on materials.
They're waiting on materials to put the final stuff down.
Right.
We called the contractor this afternoon and told them we want them to come back out and at least put some temporary arrows or something to make it more safe.
Right.
Yes.
And then
So we should be getting a response from them tomorrow morning.
yeah, and then especially with things closed off, we're probably
Absolutely.
getting people that don't normally go that direction and aren't familiar. And then I also had a complaint about people cutting through Inahar. They were actually standing in their driveway and they watched a landscape truck with a big trailer full of stuff just turn and not even hesitate, just go from Bryn Mawr straight through Inahar, just cutting through. So I asked if maybe we could put one of those, you know, those pylon things that like Metro Parks has. You just like pull it out when you have to have, you know, a vehicle go through. Or she said she believed there was a chain there in the past or something.
You know what time?
It was 5:30 yesterday in the afternoon, so it's still bright daylight.
All right, I'm also a police officer, sit over there. I usually, this time of construction year, I have them down there, but I get they can't be everywhere. But that, and we'll look for ways to maybe block that
We
off.
put some 55-gallon barrels there today and stuff like that. We didn't want to do the chain. They actually talked with the one guy at the chain, and when we did have a chain up in the past, and we hit with a bike and almost, you know, took their head out. So we didn't want to go the chain route yet.
All right.
So we're just going to do the 55-gallon barrels.
Okay, thank you.
Really
Thank you,
good
though.
idea.
Councilman Garrettstein?
Pete, when the contractor says he's waiting on material,
Yes.
that job was bid out last year and done last year. Isn't it odd that project's, he's known that project at this point in time? I mean, that's
Yes.
not a good excuse to be waiting on material
It's the
after all
paint.
this time.
There's a paint shortage all around, and it's the road paint for that. Yes, but he could have ordered that 12 months ago. Correct. I'm not real happy about that excuse.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? Councilman Ballard?
Ron, on some streets, like 300th and Rockefeller, we have, that's with striping too, but we have, the yellow line or the white line. Sometimes it's in the center on one side. Shouldn't they all be on like the further side if the car's parked on one side? So there's a little bit more room for the car to go around. So sometimes the stripe is like right in the middle, but on, Rockefeller, no, sorry, on 300th, it's over a little bit. So you get a little bit more room. Do we expect that out?
300th is a wider road than a standard 24-foot wide road. You're right. And they've kicked it over. It's the same on Rockefeller, near the high school. Or I should say north of the high school. It's kicked over so that they can accommodate parking better. So
I think it is a little bit, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's not much, but it seems like it's like on those streets that are
Wider.
a little wider, if there's parked cars on there, should give, that 6-7 inches, there's a little bit more, just a thought.
We can look at it before we
Sure.
send the bids out.
We were just talking about that today.
Any further questions or comments for the service director? Thank you. Building Commissioner Sack?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I just have one thing. I got an application for zoning change last week, and they will be going to the Planning Commission next week for information and guidance. And I just want to let council be aware of that.
Any questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Councilman Garrett, it's time.
Where's the zoning change at, Ray?
It's on 300th Street. Feeney's on the little workout, where there's a workout place. It's a brick building.
Okay.
Very nice building. It's right behind there. They're buying that building and 3/4 of an acre behind it.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments for the Building Commissioner? Thank you. Recreation Director, stop.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just give you the lifeguard update. We're still moving a little slow with that. We're going to a job fair next week, and Becky does have a dozen interviews set up, so we're moving that way, but it's just going a little slow.
Councilwoman Sloto?
Just tell me again, when is the training and all that stuff gonna happen for these guys? if they're
We
coming
will
out?
have a class, a certification
Yeah.
class, the first week that the pool is open. That's June 3rd. So
It's
they
June 3rd.
So they can hop into that class, get their certification, and guard the rest of the year for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are most of the people gonna do it this way, or do you have?
No,
bars that have
not
certification?
necessarily. We've had up to 10, 12 people in those classes in the past, so ideally they are looking for a certification class already at different places. But we will have an opportunity to add to the staff the first week.
Okay.
Mayor Sakis?
Yes, so we're about the same number right now that we were last year. So we're right around that 40 mark, so that's a good sign. And it's still, end of April, so that's a plus.
Any further questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Thank you. I'll now open the floor for audience participation. If anyone would like to address the Wickliffe City Council, please stand and state your name and address for the clerk's record. Since these meetings are being recorded, she does have a microphone that can be used. Each person will have a 5-minute max amount of time. Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? If not, I'll mark audience participation closed. Committee reports. Councilman Jaworski.
Thank you. The Improvement Committee met on April 17th, 2023. Present Jaworski, Levon, Balaga, Hartstein, and Koski. Also present Formica, excuse Saloto, and Thielman. Meeting was called to order at 7 p.m. The topic of the meeting was the Rockefeller Road Sidewalk Extension. The topic was referred to the committee as a safety issue for children walking to school who live on Meadowbrook. All the committee members present agreed this is a safety issue. Engineer Formica said there are 3 lots on the east side of Rockefeller between Meadowbrook and the school property that do not have sidewalks. The engineer estimated the cost to be $18,000 for the sidewalks on all 3 lots. It would cost $12,000 for 2 lots since the 3rd lot is under construction and plans call for a sidewalk to be built. The cost would be comparable with the cost of concrete for Silver Street. Formica explained the cost would be high if the sidewalks would be added to the south of Meadowbrook on the east side of Rockefeller. This work would include removal of the existing guardrail and addition of the handicap ramp. Sidewalks on just the 3 lots are an easy project. Council President Levon, Balaga, Hartstein, and Koski want the city to cover all 3 lots. Jaworski's for 2 lots. The committee recommends the city pay for the sidewalk for all 3 lots and recommends this item to the Finance Committee. Item reported out of the Improvement Committee. Meeting adjourned 7-11. Respectfully submitted.
Committee of the Whole met on April 17th, 2023. Meeting called to order at 7:11. The purpose was civil service. Present, Bala, Gerhardstein, Jaworski, Koski, Levon. Excused, Saloto, and Thielman. Also present, Engineer Formica. Council President Levon presented a draft of an ordinance that he worked on with the law director that would have a new hire of the police department reimbursing the city any training monies the city invested in the employee if they didn't stay in the department for a minimum of 4 years. In summary, if we paid training fees for a newly hired police officer and that employee voluntarily resigns or is dismissed, terminated, they would be required to pay a portion of or all of the training fees based on the amount of time they served on the police force. If they stayed less than 1 year, they would be required to reimburse the city 100% of the money. Over 1 year but less than 2 years would be 75%. Over 2 years but less than 3 years would be 50%, and over 3 years but less than 4 years would be 25%. Once the employee hits the 4-year mark, no reimbursement would be required. Levon notified the committee that the law director would work with the police chief and the union to make sure that they were on board as well. Councilman Bell asked what would happen regarding reimbursement if the employee was injured or passed away within the first 4 years. Levon replied that the program does not apply if anything of those nature happens. Councilwoman Koski stated that she thought the police chief mentioned that some of the training recent hires had received had been free and only a small portion were paid for by the city. Councilman Gerhardstein stated that the police department is the only department in the city that doesn't have hiring requirements outside of the written civil service tests. Fire employees need to have EMT and fire school training, and service department employees need a CDL. He also asked if the committee or council was going to discuss the lateral transfer program. Levon said that the administration would have to work on that program. Councilman Jaworski mentioned that he thought this program was a good idea and that if we find it impacts or hinders our ability to hire candidates, we can always modify or rescind it in the future. The committee had no objections to the proposed program and recommends the council to authorize the law director to create legislation on a reimbursement program for officer training of new hires for the police department. This item is reported out of committee. Meeting adjourned at 7:28 p.m. Respectfully submitted. I'll make a motion to authorize the law director to create legislation on a reimbursement program for officer training of new hires for the police department.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Levon, seconded by Councilwoman Saloto, to authorize the law director to create legislation on a reimbursement program for officer training of new hires for the police department. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Koski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Do we have any commission report?
Can I
Councilwoman
do-
Koski?
Can I do a committee report since I wasn't here at the last
Oh, I
one?
read your committee report.
Oh, you did? Okay, good. Then I got a commission one.
Commission reports, Councilwoman Koski.
Yeah. Okay. The senior program board meeting was held Tuesday, April 11th. They discussed an increase of membership rates that will be voted on in May. And it is currently $5 and they're going to raise it to 10. Is that correct, Tim? Right?
Correct.
Okay. They have another meeting before the vote takes place. On May 17th, there will be a senior day at the Great Lakes Mall. Sharon Ipovic has been named the 2023 Outstanding Senior of the Year. She does a lot of volunteering at the Senior Center. Seasons on the Lake, a store at the Great Lakes Mall, and the Wickliffe Dollar Tree both made very large greeting card donations to the center. Pam Blackburn was instrumental in receiving these donations and will be teaching a craft class in May using some of the donations. And on May 10th at 10 a.m. at the Senior Center, they will be having coffee and cookies featuring our very own Mayor Sakis. And the next meeting at the Senior Center will be May 16th at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Any other commissioner reports? Councilman Thielman.
Not as spine-tingling as that, but the Environmental Commission met April 13th, 2023, to review the newly updated, as of January 5th, 2023, Stormwater Management Program which was prepared by CT Consultants in cooperation with the Sugar River Watershed Partners. Pete Formica, a Wickliffe City engineer, provided an overview of the 6 primary components that make up the Wickliffe Stormwater Management Program. These components are most commonly referred to as MCMs, minimum control measures. For each MCM, the plan must address our best management practices. Those MCMs are public education and outreach, public involvement and participation, illicit discharge detection and elimination, construction site stormwater runoff controls, post-construction stormwater management for new developments and redevelopments, pollution prevention, and good housekeeping for municipal operations. The report has been distributed to all city council members in January, is currently under review by the Ohio EPA, according to Mr. Formica. No news is generally good news, and so far we have not been notified of any insufficiencies in this report. Stormwater Management Program updated every 5 years and is submitted for review. I'd like to thank Mr. Formica for his efforts in maintaining this report and for the time he took to answer all the questions of the Environmental Commission. Upon each council person's individual review, I'm sure Pete would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you. Any other commission reports? Seeing none, no old business. Move on to new business A, appointment of Rita, Regional Council of Government Delegate and alternate delegate for the city of Wickliffe. Mayor.
Yes, if you guys would make a motion to appoint Shalandra to be the delegate to Rita. Usually the finance director does this, and it's required by Rita. And it's traditionally, like I said, a role by the finance director, and council approval is required.
Councilman Gerstein.
I make a motion that we appoint the finance director, Hunter, as the representative of the Rita Council, and also nominate the council president, Levon, as the alternate.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman, to reaffirm the mayor's appointment of Shalandra Hunter as the Wickliffe delegate for the Rita Regional Council of Government, and Council President Levon as the alternate delegate for the city of Wickliffe. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bala.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes?
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solota.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Okay, move on to new business B, NOPEC.
So I just wanted to see if we could put this in committee and have a conversation. All the cities around us are NOPEC cities. And NOPEC come around, this was what I want to say was before a lot of our times, 20 years ago. NOPEC was sailing good. NOPEC, it's kind of hard to explain. NOPEC came in, the city receives so much money per year that you could use it for lighting, things to do with electricity, gas, things like that. Everything was rolling good. Last year they had the hiccup. So now, I've received a lot of resident complaints that the thing they do not agree with is that they have to opt out, right? So everybody's automatically opted in, and if you don't want to be a part of NOPEC, you have to opt out. So, we pass legislation, I want to say every 3 years, it comes upon our table to see if we're going to continue to be a NOPEC city. There are benefits. I don't know if Ron could speak on some of the benefits to being a NOPEC city, but to the residents, some don't pay attention. They get that letter in the mail. They look at it as junk mail. They throw it in the garbage. But NOPEC is for those who don't, want to have to worry about nothing. So they stay with NOPEC and they get a rate. But there's others out there that, research it and they can find a lower carrier, but this is for your average resident, and that's why NOPEC's there. However, some residents feel like they shouldn't have to opt out. They should have to opt in if they want to be a part, but that's not how NOPEC works. So, am I saying anything? So that's the thing. Do we want to continue to be a NOPEC city? I spoke with the other mayors. We just met last week, and they are going to continue to be a NOPEC city. They're riding the storm. They were like, this is, people saved a lot of money for a lot of years, but when this happened, some bills tripled, and I know it was It was a big hiccup for them. So I just wanted to bring that up. I said I would do so and to see how you guys felt about it.
I mean, we could put this in the committee of the whole and meet on it next week.
We don't have to meet right away. I mean,
Well, whenever, I mean, if there's not a
whenever,
meeting
yeah,
called.
I mean,
but
it's
we could
not
put-
urgent. I just, a
Okay.
conversation we should speak about. This.
Okay, well, then we'll put NOPEC in the committee of the whole. New business C, nuisance for a business. Mayor?
Okay, so this is, okay, Willoughby and Councilman Thielman might be familiar with. Willoughby put an ordinance in place, and this ordinance it's almost like giving the business, and I'm talking about one of the hotels in our area. It's nonstop. I have a scanner, I listen to it all the time, and I don't ever want to be business unfriendly. I'm not trying to be like that. I will do anything to help business, I would. But this is between the drugs and the prostitution and other things that, and I'm sure you guys received the message over the weekend on what happened there. The bright side is nobody got hurt, but when's that gonna change, you know? So it's just a lot of, I would never go there at nighttime. And it's Wickliffe, and I want to feel safe anywhere I go in Wickliffe. So my question is, do we put this in committee, and I'm going to have Jeremy look into, I'm waiting to get this legislation from Willoughby. And what they do, it's an ordinance they put in place that almost gives them like 3 strikes. Saying, we meet with the business owner saying, we are putting this in place. This kind of gives them a clean slate. This keeps happening, and then we're going to have to take action. Again, I don't want to shut down. We don't need another empty business at Wickliffe, but at what cost? This is a business that it's just the frustration, the resources it's taken away with the squads that have to go there for some of the drug overdoses and the police that have to go there. So I just wanted to put that in to eventually talk about it again. I have to wait for this legislation so we can look and we can mirror it, and then have Jeremy look into, and we would just have to enforce it. So I just wanted to get your thoughts. I feel like we should have some control on this topic.
Councilwoman Koski?
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up earlier, but since the police chief wasn't here, I wasn't sure about bringing it up, but yeah, it's sort of frightening to have an establishment like that, especially it's got a large population, not of our residents, but Willoughby Hills residents, right in those apartments right around there, and yeah, and we have a lot of people that walk in that area too. I just would feel better if it was a safer area.
Councilwoman Sloto?
So I think about this all the time, because it's very close to my home too, but I'm trying to understand, this is the Fair Bridge? Is this a chain of hotels? I mean,
So-
is this privately owned, or what is causing this in this particular establishment?
It's the same thing as the other hotel that was, they lost their flagship, which I believe it was a chain of Ramada. Because I
Right,
think you still see that in fine print underneath the Fair Bridge.
right.
Or Marriott, one of those. But they lose their flagship, and they want to still run as a hotel because they're making their money, and they're getting, you know, they're doing fine, and they're up to code with some of the, you know, the health department, because that's who shut down the most. But it's not that they're not up to code. You know, they're able to fix everything to get it running. It's what's coming into the hotel and what, you know, acts that are being committed at this hotel. But it's more this one than it is that one.
Right, and I
But-
don't understand, I mean, I'm just not understanding why they can operate an establishment like this, of this repute. I mean,
So-
there has to be something that we
It
can do
is-
about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very difficult to claim a business as a nuisance, especially a hotel. And I think the police chief has stated it many a times in the past, I don't know, 13 years I was on council, or, you know, whatever, 13, 14 years, so it's not easy. So I think the idea behind this legislation, if Willoughby's gonna put something that has teeth and legally it makes sense and we're able to use it, then we should probably do that and give the mayor the authority, administration the authority to do that if Mr. Ayuso feels that it's legal and it's reputable and it's enforceable. But yeah, I'm sure Willoughby can do it, and their law director says it's good, and Jeremy looks at it and he says it's good. then let's give the administration the teeth to do this, right? I think everybody's on board with that. Nobody wants to see shootings and prostitution and drug overdoses at that hotel constantly, right?
Yeah, Mayor Fiala of Willoughby is fed up with one of their hotels, and he understands that when you do shut them down for nuisance, there could be pending litigation that comes at us. But he's at wit's end, so that's why they did a lot of research in putting this in place as best we can. So they're getting fair warning, and I mean, who knows? If it happened, they'd probably still come at us. But they're at least putting this in properly, so we're not just recklessly going there and shutting them down. They're getting a couple chances here. So.
Councilman Jaworski?
Joe, I think that what you said hit home, because this particular establishment sucks up so many city resources, and we only have a limited number of resources, especially when it comes to our safety personnel that can only do a certain amount at a certain time. And when we have this, and frankly, it shouldn't be just limited, and I'm sure talk more about this during the committee meeting, but it shouldn't be just limited to hotels. It should be any business that we feel is a detriment to
Public safety.
Yeah, public safety. Thank you, Maria.
I agree. Yep.
All right, we'll put a nuisance for business into the Legislation and Welfare Committee, and whenever you hear from Mr. Fiala, then we can, and have that, and Willoughby's through with that, you can present it to us. Okay.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll let you know as soon as I receive it.
Okay, and then new business D, high school crosswalk, Councilman Bala?
Yeah, with the new school going in, campus, I think there's gonna be a need for a crosswalk probably, right in the middle somewhere, so I think it's gonna be part of our responsibility to put a crosswalk in.
The school's putting one in.
Or they,
Actually, they're putting two in for temporarily, and then they'll bring it down to one.
okay.
I've had discussions with their engineer as to where and how it's going to be laid out. So
Okay, I wasn't sure if we'd be responsible, for
they're taking care of
evening
it.
or other, okay.
Pete, can you identify where our temporary ones will be?
I have the plans. I'll be glad to forward them to you
Okay.
tomorrow morning.
Just out of curiosity. Any other?
Yeah, I guess you can take it.
Okay, well, the school will take care of it, okay?
Sure,
All
yeah.
right.
That had come up when they were at Planning Commission, 2 years ago with that.
Okay. Okay, good news. All right, move on to ordinances.
First one, ordinance number 2023-16, third reading by title only, an ordinance amending chapter 549, weapons and explosives of the codified ordinances of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio.
Adoption?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Kosky to adopt ordinance 2023-16 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Ordinance number
Go ahead, you're good.
Ordinance number 2023-24 amended. This was the appropriations from last time, and I believe the change was made that was requested. By title only, an ordinance providing appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio for the period beginning January 1st, 2023 and ending December 31st, 2023, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Jaworski to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-24 amended on third and final reading. Discussion? Councilman Gerhardstein.
Just for clarification, the amended part was the Opticons were coming out of the capital improvement fund, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Any further discussion on the suspension? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Adoption?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Jaworski to adopt ordinance 2023-24 amended as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2023-25 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of one new Thales Live Scan biometric fingerprint scanner with software and associated equipment for use by the City of Wickliffe Police Department and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Sloto, seconded by Councilman Thielman to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2023-25 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to adopt ordinance 2023-25 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Resolutions.
Resolution number 2023-05, this is on third reading by title only, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio to enter into a community reinvestment area agreement between the city of Wickliffe, Ohio and Wickliffe Gas and Go LLC.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to adopt resolution 2023-05 as presented. Discussion? Councilman Jaworski.
I just want to again state my disagreement with this, and I don't think it should be for a project that, I think we shouldn't be giving this money to a project that's going to be creating such little income for the city.
I'm not, my only objection is it's not really giving any money to anybody. We're not taking all the property taxes on it. That typically only doesn't hurt the city, right? It's investing in the city at little impact on the city's dollar of what money we'll collect. That's my only difference. Councilman Gerhardstein.
For the 25% of the 11% we collect on property tax, I believe when the tax evaluation comes back and then we have income, I honestly believe, as I talked to the mayor and the fire chief, that this is a perfect example of why we should follow this one here, to find out what it costs us if we win or we lose. But I don't think we should be arguing over 25% of 11%. That's my opinion.
Any further discussion on the adoption? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
No.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Other legislation. Miscellaneous. Entertain a motion for adoption, or adjournment.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Sloto to adjourn the meeting. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Jaworski.
Yes.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Solotra.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Sweet berry. Sweet berry bought that.